Hello, I'm Steve Mamakas, and welcome to Let's Talk Business. These shows will highlight and showcase and talk about businesses and different things that are going on in our community in the economic development world. Our today's guest is Carmine DeFalco, the administrator of the property tax card, and we'll talk to Carmine a little bit about the program that we've implemented in the township. Let's talk a little bit about economic development. The role of economic development is to help us recruit, retain, and help businesses expand in our community. By doing such, when we bring businesses into town, it helps with job creation and to help build our tax base, which leads me to our guest here, Carmine, and the property tax program that we brought into our township. So what I'd like to do in a minute or two is talk to Carmine about the benefits of the tax program. And as you will see in the future, we will also have other shows that spotlight businesses around town. So, Carmine, welcome. Let's talk a little bit about the property tax program and how it works.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Steve, for having me, first of all, and congratulations on getting the program done in Old Bridge. The way the program works is very simple. The township has issued already these cards, the Think Old Bridge card, to the entire community. So people get the card, they're registered online with the block and lot, then they go out and spend money at local participating businesses. They use the reward card, and a percentage of the sale, as determined by the business, goes back to this person's property tax bill. So in essence, Steve, the more I shop in my own town, the more property tax credits I earn directly on my tax bill.
So how's the program been doing in our town?
Actually, very well. To date, we have about 1,000 families that participate in the program, which is a good result for only 6 months, but it's a big town. We can do much more. We have about 25 businesses that participate. You will recognize some of them because they're pretty large and pretty big businesses in town, such as Friendly's, Bensi, and some of the other places. So it's doing very well.
So you touched upon it quick. What are the tax benefits to the people who use the card?
Well, in terms of utilizing the card, when they go out and utilize the card, as I told you before, when you swipe the card, you get a reward as a property tax credit. Now, if you just go about your business using the card, you can easily save $200-300 a year on the card in property taxes, which is exactly what we're aiming to do. But if you do spend a lot of money in town and you do maybe capital investments, you can save as much as $1,000 or $2,000 on your property taxes.
So another question is, who actually pays for the program? Let's tell the residents who pays for this program. It's not paid. No money comes out of the township. It's not paid by a township. It's your company that runs this program for the township and other towns as well.
That is correct. To date, we have about 20 townships that participate in the program, and we are adding new towns almost every couple of months or so. The program is paid for by the merchants. In other words, your credit comes back from the merchant. So if you go out and spend $100 on one of these restaurants, and they participate with a 10%, you know that you will pay the $100 at the point of sale, but then you know that $10 goes back on your property tax bill. So it is a net zero effect on the township, who does not pay for the program and for the taxes.
Perfect. Now, when they go and they shop and they swipe their card, how does the money show up in their account? How does it get transferred to their account?
Well, remember, Steve, as I told you before, when you register your card, you put your block and lot. That's how we track the savings. You do create an account so you can go on a website and check every time how much you have saved. In fact, you can check your credits. And so you know exactly how much you're getting back. And our fiscal year goes from May 1st through April 30 of the following year. So you have a 12-month period to save money, and it will show up in your August tax bill. So the third quarter tax bill, that's when all your credits that you've accrued from May to April of that year will go into your tax bill.
That's key, because a lot of people, when is it going to come? Well, I just spent yesterday in one of the stores and I didn't see it on my my last tax bill. So
that's correct.
That's a key point.
That's once a year.
April, yes. Once a year.
April 30th is the cutoff and then that money that you have accrued up until April 30th will show up in your August bill.
So the money is accrued in a bank account that's set up through your company and
That-
then transferred from the bank directly into the resident or renter's account. Let's talk a little bit about that. Who can utilize the program? Who can use it?
Well, just about anybody can utilize the program because yes, if you're a homeowner, you earn property tax credits, but you can also register the card as a renter. Of course, you do not pay property taxes in town, so you receive a check at the end of the year. So you receive cash essentially. If you're a visitor or you just work in town, you can also use it, and we'll send a check right at your house.
So workers who work in the town, who maybe even work in the township here but don't live in our town, they can go and utilize the card.
Yes.
And so let's say they go to the local store, they do the same procedure. Swipe the card, they get a check.
That's correct.
Okay, excellent. So the other questions we have is now, how many cards per household?
Well, initially, of course, you register one card. However, you can get additional cards, go under your account, go to the Add Cards page, and you can add multiple cards. So you can have it, your family members can have it, and they can all shop in town, and all these credits accumulated on each of the card that you have registered goes to the same block and lot.
So talking about adding cards, you have to come and physically get a new card, or you have to come and get your first card.
Well, first you get your first card,
Correct.
and then maybe you want an extra card,
Correct.
and you can register both of them under the same account.
So now cards are, where can we get the cards?
That's a good
I'll
question.
tell you where. First, you can get them at the mayor's office. You can get them at the local library, our library, and you can also get them at the senior center. But Carmen, where else can you get them?
Well, some of the stores, actually, most of the participating merchants carry the cards. So if you look at the list, you go on our website, you look at the list of merchants. I like to make the example of Bensi and Friendly and these very well-known places. They would have cards. You go over there and say, hey, I'm in town, I work in town, or I live in town, I like to have a card. They'll give you a card.
So a little bit more, let's talk a little bit more about how somebody, the process of signing up for a card. All right, we get the card, right? We got a big example of it here, right? Now, on the back of the card, give them a little rundown of how they do it, because people need to know, because they think they just take the card and just go swipe it. Give them a little sense of how the process goes and how they can look at their tax credits a little bit more. We'll get down in the weeds a little bit.
Yes, so basically, Steve, the back of the card has numbers. When you get the card, you go online, you go on and you register the card. And it would ask you the card ID number and the PIN number. Then it would ask you your block and lot. So you have to be ready with your block and lot, because remember, that's how we track your savings against your block and lot. Once you answer the questions, then you register the card. It's simple as that. If you do not have access to a computer, you can call a customer service number, which is also in the back of the card, and we'll be happy to register the card for you. We have a lot of senior population that unfortunately they don't use the computers, and they call us and we register the card.
So, can you tell us what the number is that they need to call, and what
Yes.
the property tax card website link is with our, I think it's Think Old Bridge?
Actually, that's correct. It's, again, the website is in front of the card. The number to call customer service is 732-946-0919. And as far as the website is propertytaxcard.com/Oldbridge. And that's how you get to the Think Old Bridge page.
And that's our own link, right?
That's
Our
your own
personal
link. That's
link
correct.
for our township.
That is correct.
So mainly the purpose, and I have to give some kudos and thanks out to the Township Council and our mayor for, as we brought this program in, they've accepted it and brought it to the residents. And the main focus of the mayor's initiative is, let's try our best to help the people in our township with some tax relief and quality of life. But mainly this program and card allows our town and our residents to stay local, to shop local, to bring business to our local towns, to our local businesses, I should say, to bring business to our local businesses, which from the perspective is, if you really look at it, our local businesses are paying for our residents' taxes when they shop in their stores.
That's correct. It is a reward program, so they're giving something back to the community. So absolutely, do go local, shop local, and if people do not, if your merchant does not participate, give them our number. It's in the back. We'll try to get them to participate in the program. It's still in its infancy, so we definitely can grow. It's a big town. We can definitely grow.
So now a business, local pizzeria, or a local chain, if we have one or two, Friendlies. What's the percentage that people can expect when they go in a store? I'm going to go, okay, am I going to save 75 cents? Am I going to save $10?
Right. Well, every business is different. It depends on their margins. Some people can give more. Some merchants can give more. Some more merchants can give less. But we have seen that for restaurants, for instance, a good benchmark is 7.5 to 10%. And that's what they give back, which is quite substantial. But yes, it depends on the type of businesses. Dry cleaners will give maybe 5%. So everything is spelled out on our website, so you know exactly what you get before you go into shop at the store.
So the main purpose is to get the word out there that we have this tax card program in town, and to get the residents out there using it to save money on their tax bill, to get a check back if they're a renter, and even if they work in the town, don't live in the town, they'll get a check back.
Absolutely.
Even if they live 100 miles away.
Correct.
They'll get a check back in the
Correct.
mail. And it will be reflective, as what you said. They can even make $200 on a check coming back to them at the end of the year.
That's
in
exactly right.
April.
That's exactly right.
So the feedback of the program has been great from people that come in. They love the program. They're saving money. And it's a great program. So circling back to what you said about how people can sign up and use the card, let's talk a little bit about using the card over the phone. If you want to call in an order to a restaurant, or what other ways can the card be used? Because we talked about a card per household, right? So, and I also want to touch upon the fact of who sponsored our cards. We want to thank them for sponsoring the cards. So let's talk about first how you can use a card and make a phone call.
Yes, actually, Steve, thank you for the question. That's very important. If you do not have your card with you, or you making an order over the phone, you can actually give the merchant your registered phone number. So remember, when you register the card, we will ask you for your phone number. Use the phone number to make your purchase orders, to purchase stuff online or on the phone, and like that. It will track it back into your account.
So I have the card. Someone of my family goes to a restaurant. She don't have the card. She just uses the phone number.
That is correct. Your registered phone number.
Registered phone number. So what do they basically have to say? They have to say, hi, I participated in the do you participate in the property tax card program? I participated, but I don't have my card with me.
That's correct. You just say, I have my program. I'm part of the program. I don't have the card with me. Here's my phone number. So it's pretty standard in the rewards industry to be able to use the phone number. So you definitely want to use the phone number. Just remember, it has to be your registered phone number.
Another quick question. You go to a restaurant, okay? Very, very, very rare that the system is not working. Or maybe the person there, okay, doesn't know, new employee, doesn't know about the card program or how to use it. What happens in that case? How does the customer, of course, maybe get to the manager? How does the customer then get that reward money back? Do they get a receipt? Do they make a phone call? So how does that work? Let's
Again, this is also very important, Steve.
Yes.
Couple of ways to handle this problem. You can ask for the manager, but many times on a Saturday night, they're very busy. So just keep your receipt. Call our customer service number. We'll handle everything for you. You'll send us your receipt. You just take a picture with your smartphone, email it to us or send it to us, and we'll definitely post the credit for you, and we'll advise the merchant. You don't have to keep on arguing with a merchant that doesn't know how to post it and is busy and whatnot. Just take the receipt and call us.
So as long as they're a participant
Yes.
in the program, if you go to a restaurant, they're a participant in the program. Now you just take your receipt, go out of the restaurant, say, I went there, I know they participated in that program. Maybe the waitress or waiter or new manager didn't know about it. They basically make a phone call to you, get that that receipt to you via smartphone. If they don't have a smartphone, they can call you.
They can
say,
mail it. They can call
mail
it.
it,
Whatever.
whatever the case may be, to get it to you. All right, perfect. Because that covers a lot of questions that people do have. They come to my office and do ask that question, or they see us on the street and they'll ask that. A lot of questions like that came up at Old Bridge Day, and we gave out a lot of cards at Old Bridge Day. Speaking of cards, what I want to do is I want to thank the sponsors who sponsored 20,000 cards for our township, which was Ace Pharmacy, which is on 516. We have XL Urgent Care, which is right next to Ace Pharmacy, and Amboy Bank. Want to thank them. That's why this program doesn't cost anything to the residents. The local businesses have paid for the cards, and the local businesses stepped up to pay for your taxes.
For the rewards, correct.
For the reward program for the residents' taxes. So, again, Carmine, I want to thank you for coming and being with us today and giving us some more in-depth detail about the card. Welcome, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve,
You're
for having me.
welcome.
Thank you.
And again, stay tuned. We'll be back to talk about another initiatives in Old Bridge.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Business. We're here today with Craig Ewer from Uber, Relations Manager for New Jersey for Uber, and Sammy Demiri from Cafe Luna. Welcome, gentlemen.
Great to be here.
All right. So, Craig, let's start off with you. Tell us a little bit about Uber, when it started, and why it's so popular.
Sure. So, Uber was founded in 2009, and Uber is a mobile app that lets you push a button and get a ride in over 500 cities around the world and throughout here in New Jersey. And so it's really two apps, actually. It's one app for riders and another app for drivers. And so for drivers, you're able to push a button and start working, pick people up, take people home, and push that button again and stop working. And for riders, it provides a safe, reliable way to get a ride that's affordable and convenient for everyone.
Oh, excellent. You covered one of my questions already, but that's a good thing. So give us a sense of how Uber operates in our township here, because one of the reasons why we have the program in town is I have my kids, they came of drinking age, but prior to that I go out and pick them up from a late night somewhere, and as they started drinking, but not excessively, of course, I'd get out there in the middle of the night, pick them up, bring them home. And then the Uber program started to come into play where they would take Uber home. So years of working with Mothers Against Drunk Drivers and picking up the phone and getting them home, it seemed like a natural tie-in to put this together for our township. So give us a sense of how the program is working in our town.
Sure. So here in Old Bridge, we worked with your office to set up Saferide's program. And so the way this works is that if you are in one of more than a dozen bars or restaurants in Old Bridge, you're able to open that Uber app between the hours of 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. Thursday through Saturday evening, and you'll be able to get a free ride home from those bars and restaurants. And so, by providing a really easy way to get a safe ride home, our hope is that people are going to make smarter choices about drinking and driving.
And that's one of the reasons why the idea and all of this came about. And at the same time, it saves our law enforcement people from being out there and stopping people who are, have had a little too many and shouldn't be on the road, protecting them.
Right, yeah, and we've heard from law enforcement officials, in New Jersey and across the country that, if you can prevent drunk driving, like you said, you're going to save a lot of those costs down the line.
So give us a little bit of the mechanics on how it works for our residents. Okay,
Sure.
They're in a restaurant, they're in an establishment. They've had, one more drink than they think they can get behind the wheel. What are the mechanics? Who shows up? Does a guy show up with a junk car and pull up and say, come on, get in?
So I'll walk you through it. I'll walk you through the whole thing. So when you open the Uber app, normally you're going to see a couple options at the bottom that reflect some of the different choices that we offer. So UberX is a standard car that seats up to 4 people. Uber XL will seat up to 6 people. If you're at one of these restaurants or bars during those times, 9 p.m. to 2 a.m., you're going to see a third option which says Old Bridge. So we've created a special option in the app to request these rides.
Old Bridge 20.
What's that?
Old Bridge 20?
Old Bridge, yeah,
Old
yeah,
Bridge 20.
yeah. So I think what you'll want to do is really select that Old Bridge option and request your ride. It should arrive in minutes. Now, to your question about who's behind the wheel, who's the car, who's the driver. So anyone who wants to drive with Uber has to go through a series of steps. The first of which is a background check. And so what we're going to do is run your criminal history, your motor vehicle history, to see if there are disqualifying offenses. And so we of course take safety incredibly seriously. And then at the same time, we also have standards about what type of vehicles. Everyone has to have passed a state inspection. But in fact, safety is one of the reasons that a lot of people like to use Uber, because of the accountability that we have through the technology. Every single trip is always on the map. You know who your driver is going to be before you get in the car. You can see their name, the license plate, the car make and model. So safety is really top to bottom part of the experience.
Yeah, so we just want to make sure our residents know that it's not just going to be some guy that Uber call up and said, hey, yeah, just go over there and pick somebody up. It's a process through the application and the mechanics of it.
That's right. Yeah. Anyone who wants to be able to pick up, through the Uber app has to go through that vetting process.
I understand. So from a standpoint of what's Uber's perspective now, given our program, and it's a unique program here, and you representing New Jersey, what's your perspective on how, I think you touched a little bit upon it, but a little bit more detail on what Uber thinks of the relationship with us and how the benefits to everyone is, the township, the residents, and Uber.
Yeah. Well, I think that we see municipalities as really important partners in the work that we're doing. Our mission overall is to make transportation as accessible and affordable for everyone, everywhere. And so by partnering with Old Bridge, and working specifically on safe rides, we think that we're extending that mission into a very, very important use case out here in the suburbs, which is cutting down drunk driving. So, we've had fantastic feedback, from participants in the program, who've said that it's providing an option that they simply didn't have before. So we're really excited about the results so far and excited to see what the future holds.
No, definitely. You touched upon my last question, but bringing the participants in, that's why Sam is here.
Sure.
And Sammy is going to talk to us a little bit about, give us a sense of how it's working and how you interact with the customers and using the Uber program. And I know that it's beneficial to your business.
Yes, it is. It definitely is beneficial to my business. But like I said in the past, I personally do train my staff to explain it to the customer how it works. You live in Old Bridge. It's a free ride. It's no problem. You could have that one extra drink if you want to, as long as you use Uber. It's not nothing out of your pocket. It doesn't cost you anything. It's been working pretty good. I always promote it out there. I tell customers, especially at the bar, I try to tell them when they come in. So this way, if they decide, oh, let's have an extra one, we don't have a problem, we got an Uber coming, then it works fine.
And it helps you.
Yes, absolutely.
It allows you to identify a customer and say, you know what, just take a ride home. And to your point, being free, what we did is we went out to the local community, business community, and we said, here's a program. And we had businesses line up to support it. So we have one business right now, which is Nanick Construction, local business. I've said this on a couple of our shows before. Local businessman lived in the town for many years, went through our schools, lived here, and said, whatever I can do to help our community, make our community safe. He's basically stepped up to the plate and said, whatever rides, I'll pay for them. Now, there's a component of it that I think Uber provided to anyone. Well, let's get into the geographical fence and how that works, because Cafe Lunar is in Old Bridge, but it's the geographical fence is only around Old Bridge.
That's right, yeah. And so there are two parts of it, and the first you identified is right, that the ride has to end within Old Bridge. So this is really a program for Old Bridge residents, and keeping folks who live in the community safe and giving them an incentive to shop and dine locally. So we think that's really important. But at the same time, the geofence, as we call it, that's essentially us going on the back end of our of our system and saying if they open the app in this specific place, they're going to see that special Old Bridge option. So we have that designated at all the bars and restaurants that are participating in the program, and then for the ride to be free, it has to end within the Old Bridge city limits.
Right. And it also offered something to the new people who decided, hey, today I'm in the restaurant. Let me download the Uber app, and I believe they give a percentage off on their first ride,
code,
not
yeah.
in Old Bridge.
That's right. Yes.
Externally.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Or from Old Bridge to somewhere else.
Precisely. Yeah. We have a promotion code that hopefully we can put up on the screen or something like that. I'll get it for you, which essentially gives you up to, I believe, $15 or $20 off your first ride. So that's right. Even if you're not going out to Old Bridge. So if you are a resident of Old Bridge, you might even take that first ride to the airport. Perhaps we find that airport travel is a really fantastic way to use Uber. And I'll mention that through the rest of the year, if you are flying back into Newark Airport and you have an American Express credit card, you can actually get a $65 ride free. That's a special promotion we're running this year.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So I think that should cover a good portion, if not the entire trip, from Newark Airport out to Old Bridge.
Swinging back to Sammy, what nights do you see the most activity when the Uber program is being used?
Sometimes Wednesdays, but mostly Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Right.
Most of it actually is Thursdays,
Yeah.
because Fridays it's groups of people, but if it's one or two individuals going out and stuff, Thursdays it's mostly
Thursday's the night when a lot
Yes.
of kids will go out, and it's a
Correct.
party night almost Thursday before
Correct.
the Friday.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think that actually lines up, very nicely with what we see in our own data. We like to say that bar closing time is Uber's rush hour, right? And so
That's pretty cool.
yeah, exactly. So that's what we see is when the bars close, that's when we see a spike in Uber trips, and that really tells us that a lot of people are using Uber as that safe option to get
And you
home.
mentioned New Year's Eve being, what was New Year's
New Year's
Eve?
Eve, we call that the Super Bowl for Uber. So we're gonna have a lot of folks who are out there.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll have a lot of folks who are out there, locally, who are out maybe driving and earning, trying to make some extra money, pay off those holiday bills, and then of course folks who are out there enjoying themselves who get a safe ride home.
So now with the holiday season coming about, we want the residents to know about the Uber program that we have in the town to keep our residents safe and so on. And also the first part of this program, our property tax card, and you touched upon it, to have them shop local, to have them say, you know what, let's go to a restaurant in town instead of traveling to another town, where if by any chance we may have an extra glass of wine, I'll leave my car here, I can get home, it's not in another town, and get them to go into the local businesses and restaurants. So our property tax card, our Uber program, tie into our community. So
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great thing. And we've actually found that in New Jersey, in New York City, and elsewhere, the availability of Uber does help open up more customers for small businesses. If you're a small business owner and you're in a place where you're not accessible by public transit, or people consider it to be inconvenient to get to, having a new transportation option can help bring in new customers.
speaking of the transportation option, and I talked about the holidays before, but the transportation option is another thing we're going to try. I talked about it on the show with the mayor, and we've been in communications with the program to try and get rides for our seniors back and forth to doctors. And I know you have a beta option right now. We've had our local hospital, Raritan Bay Medical Center, and our local, one of the pharmacies, Ace Pharmacy, step up to the plate to say they would fund the rides back and forth. So we're working on that right now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We actually this year launched our first hospital partnership in New Jersey with Hackensack University Medical Center. And so what we're doing there is helping them facilitate those rides to and from medical appointments, pick up drop-off locations on this sprawling campus. Because, like as you indicated, for folks who work in the medical field, they often cite transportation as one of the barriers for their patients. So I think there's
So that's what's on the campus, getting workers back and forth from location
getting
to
workers
location.
and
Campuses are pretty big.
It is, and also patients, to and from, and being able, for those patients who can't afford a ride home, to actually be able to subsidize that trip home is something that eventually that program will do. And so we're going to see how that goes.
Yeah, and actually, the local businesses that stepped up will fund those rides. They're ready. They're lined up. As soon as it comes online, I think we'll have a great program that'll operate
Absolutely.
for our seniors. So actually, so now circling back to what you said about the towns and other municipalities.
Sure.
Since we've implemented this program, I'm happy to say I've received calls from other mayors of towns and police departments wanting to know about our program. So working with you and Rosie, of course,
Sure.
where as soon as the beginning of the year starts, we're going to try to seamlessly put them together where we can get people rides from other towns to our town and back and forth. So I think that's going to be a great program, but they've showed a lot of interest and expressed the excitement about it. It's a great program.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I think that what we've seen is, city governments, mayors, and others are hungry for new solutions
definitely.
to solve these type of problems. And I think that Uber is really unique because we're helping solve some of these transportation issues using the tech that's already out there, using the smartphone that's in your pocket, using those cars that people might have. People might have a second car at home that they want to use to make money, so they can get on the road and drive with Uber. And so you're making more efficient use of the vehicles
Most
out there
definitely.
and helping solve those transportation challenges.
All right, I want to thank Craig and Sam for being here, talking about our Uber program. I want to also thank Carmine for stopping in, talking about our property tax card. And just stay tuned to our shows where we go around town. We spotlight different businesses and industry for our residents, but we want to make sure we inform our residents of the great programs we have in town for you. Thank you for watching.